Good morning, everyone. Colby Moore here once again for another Bluey episode recap. Sorry it's been a while, Phil, so let's get on with it. Today we're going to recap Season 2, Episode 26, Sleepytime. This episode almost made me cry. I hope you won't cry after this recap. Anyways, let's begin. The episode begins with Chili reading Bingo a bedtime story about a baby and her mother chicken. Meanwhile, Bandit drags Bluey and places her on her bed after initially complaining about her not being tired. Bluey immediately collapses to sleep as Bandit tells Bingo goodnight as Chili finishes the book. As she is about to leave, Bingo requests another book she had hid under her pillow, a book about space, and Chili finally agrees after a small pleading from her daughter. They go through the book with Chili questioning Bingo the name of the planets, and Bingo identifies the sun. After then, it's finally sleepy time for Bingo, but not after Chili finding Floppy on the floor for her. Bingo tells her that she wants to do a big girl sleep tonight and wake up on her own bed. Chili encourages her and reminds her, "I'm always here when you need me." Then Bingo closes her eyes. Off to sleep she goes. The dream begins as the scene pans to the Earth illustration on the space book cover. The Earth itself hatches, revealing Bingo inside. Beside her, Floppy hatches from the moon, and they both see one another. They float to each other and share a hug. In real life, Bingo can be seen cuddling Floppy very tightly. Back in the dream, the two look at the sun, and they both then float their way to it, passing through an already hatched Venus. At the same time, Bluey's bed is empty in real life. It turns out that Bluey has woken up and made her way through the parents' room holding a glass. Chili wakes up and sees her daughter surprised, and is asked if she can get a ladder of glass of water. After fulfilling her request, she instead finds Bluey sleeping on her side of the bed. She then tirelessly makes her way to the children's bedroom and finds rest on Bluey's bed, trying to cover herself up in her tiny blanket. Just as Chili gets herself comfortable, Bingo gets off her bed, floating in her dream. In their dream world adventures, Bingo and Floppy find the planet Uranus. Bingo feels it soft and cuddly and lies on it like a bed, pulling the planet's surface beside her like a blanket. In truth, she ends up in her parents' room between Bluey and Bandit, and her lying and tugging on the blanket, taking Bluey and Bandit's share of it. So begins a tug of war between the freezing Bluey and Bandit as they pull the blanket for themselves. In the process, tosses and turns Bingo around. Bingo, however, feels overjoyed in her dream as if the planet's surface rises and falls, rolling herself around as a laughing little fellow. Eventually, the blue healers pull the blanket simultaneously, launching Bingo in the air. Just like that, Bingo and Floppy leave Uranus. The next planet she sees, Jupiter. She goes for a closer look and plays around with its surface. She slaps it and finds that it's fluid. Interested, she flaps the board, giggling. the gas giant is actually bedded in reality, with him being constantly being smacked in the face in his sleep. After a few rounds of smacking, Bingo floats a bit farther from the planet, then quickly floats back, diving feet first on the surface just as Bennett's stomach gets a powerful kick from her daughter, enough to make him roll with his back facing her daughters. That same back is when being walked by Bingo as she treks Jupiter's surface with Floppy in hand. Ordeal is joined by Bluey on her side, both in her dream and in real life. The two running escalates to hopping on the planet's surface, and thus Bennett's back receives a lot of kicking from both of her children. Annoyed at being kicked, he tries to swat wherever it is kicking him and manages to shove Bluey away. Back in the dream, Bluey gets pushed off by probably one of the Jupiter's moons. Bingo does not seem to mind and continues running on the surface happily. Then she sees the great red spot ahead of her. Ecstatic, she jumps right into the hole just as Bennett abruptly wakes up, clutching his crotch. Sorry about that, guys. His crotch, on which Bingo's feet can be found. Sorry about the interruption, guys. It's a long paragraph. Anyways, Floppy and Bingo find themselves in the center of the planet, with them cuddling its solid core, just like how Bingo holds onto Bennett tightly as he carries her to her original bed. On the way back, Bandit finds Bluey in the toilet with her asking him to sing to her, which Bandit reluctantly concurs with drowsy reduction of 99 bottles of ink on the wall as the two struggle with their eyes trying to stay awake. Unknowns to them, Bingo once again floats away in her dream. Back to her parents' room, they both return to the parents' room with Banner recently surprised to find Bingo on the bed once again. Bluey does not mind if she probably gets into the bed to join her sister. Defeated, Bandit lies down on the floor with only the pair of underwear as a blanket. Unfortunately for him, he gets another round of kicking from her older daughter as she gradually pulls herself closer to the bed's edge. Hence, she rolls off the bed, landing on her father, carrying the blanket with her. Unfortunately for Bingo, she finds herself freezing as she sees herself stuck on Pluto in her dream, holding on to Floppy. However, the planets resolve. The light of the sun is revealed to them, on which the two immediately stare at. Thus, Bingo sets off en route to the big star as the real-life Bingo hops off the big bed, walks straight to her own bed. Back in her dream, she passes Saturn and reacts with all she has closer look on the rings. Thousands and thousands of floppies. Bingo's Floppy is also amazed at this sight and points out to the ring. Bingo takes this as Floppy wanted to join them and has her head low in sadness. However, the two share a farewell hug and wave goodbye as the plush bunny floats off to join its bedroom. Then Bingo and Sal Floppy, among its many others, sorrowful lets out a cry at its loss, such as a cry that alerts Chili on the side of the children's room. Just yet, as all Bingo felt is a feeling of sadness of loss, she turns around and finds the unusually uplifting sight a comet riding at supersonic speed, carrying Bingo in the beeline to the sun. As she jumps on the comet and lands on the closest planet to it, Mercury, she bears witness to another magnificent sight, as she's the sun itself and it's all greatness and warmth. As warm as the hug of her mother, who came all the way from her sister's bed in the midst of the comfort. Though Bingo looks back at the shattered earth, she says to the sun, "I have to go now. I'm a big girl now." The sun replies in the sound of her loving mother, "Remember, I will always be here for you, even if you can't see me, because I love you." Bingo is once again filled with joy, worthy of a small tail wag. At the same time, Chili tucks her red heeler daughter again, smiling in her solace as she walks back to her own bedroom. Dream Bingo floats back to her home Earth. It tries to put its pieces back together around her, but just as it happens, Chili finds Floppy on the hallway, walks back to the kids' room as Bingo is struggling to resemble her planet. She's greeted with a pleasant surprise, her Floppy and a few others like it. Bingo gives Floppy one last hug and they help Bingo putting together the earth she's in. As the last piece is about to be placed above her, Floppy gives a Bingo a final wave goodbye. What follows is a set of scenes on how everything ends. In an empty hallway, a faint light of glass on the wall on the side of the parrot's bed, Bandit and Bluey hugging together comfortably on the floor as they're equally covered in their blanket, and Chili triumphantly having the entire parent's bed to herself. Then scenes of transitions to the same planet Earth on the cover of Bingo's book. It pans to Bingo happily embracing Floppy and sleeping tightly on her bed just as the room's windows slowly begin to show the morning light. Wow, this is a very long paragraph that I ever done so far. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you later.